This island doesn't appear on any map, but everyone who enters it loses a piece of their life. They say Epstein is dead, but sometimes the dead just change places. If you're hearing this story, then that island already knows you. At night, the ocean breathed on its own. Not from the waves, but as if a giant creature was slowly raising and lowering its chest. There was movement on the radar screen, but the captain was silent. He never spoke anyway. Anyone who entered these waters knew. Here, the water does not speak, it just looks. The name of the island did not appear on the maps. In official documents, it was marked as a disused area, but everyone knew it by another name, Epstein Island. My purpose when I went there was not to conduct research. I had been sent there. I was a journalist, or at least that's how I considered myself. The envelope that came to the editorial office was pitch black and contained only one sentence: truth does not die, it just changes location. When I entered those coordinates into Google Maps, the screen suddenly went black and showed nothing. A system error appeared. However, that night I had a dream. I was right in the middle of the island. There were no clocks there, but time was flowing for some reason. It flowed along walls, through water, and even down people's faces. The next day I told my editor everything. The only thing he said in response, his face pale, was this: "Don't go there. Everything written about it is always left unfinished." When I asked why, he added, "Because it's not a place to write about, it's a place where memories are buried." The bird's silence grew, as if the rhythm of life had suddenly stopped. The sound of the engine had also become muffled in the air around it, almost inaudible. A large building rose in front of me, neither a palace nor a prison. It looked more like an ancient temple, but it wasn't dedicated to worship. This place was made for sacrifice. There was no one at the door, but it stood wide open. The first smells that greeted me as I stepped inside were the smells. A mixture of rotting paper, salty leather, and a strange pinkish hue in the metal. There was no blood in the scent. The smell was more gloomy and unbearable, like the traces of a memory. The walls were decorated with pictures, but they were all damaged. The features of human faces were erased by deep scratches. The eyes had been pulled out of their sockets. Nevertheless, these holes seemed to still follow me. As soon as I stopped paying attention and examined my surroundings, a sudden voice came. "You are late." I turned around with difficulty and saw him. He was completely different from the one I had seen in the photos. Thinner, taller, and empty, as if there was no life in him. His eyes were made of dark shadows. The light seemed inaccessible to them. I tried to say something, but the words stuck in my throat. "Don't say my name," he said quietly. "Names are powerful. I am no longer a name. You are dead." His lips curved in a strange smile. "The body dies, but I was not the body." Suddenly, a deep tremor shook the walls. The pictures fell to the ground, and behind them a sign appeared. "They think they've forgotten me." I asked softly, "What do you want?" The shadowy figure replied, "Not to be remembered, to be complete." He took me downstairs. There were rooms, each with a clock, but none of them showed the same time. Some were ticking backwards, while others beat nonstop like a heart. Time was broken here, he said, and people too. He opened the door to a room. Inside was a chair. The chair was empty, but the straps were tied, and the chair was moving. It was as if someone unseen was writhing on it, writhing. "They never left this place," he said. "They just went silent." I covered my ears because suddenly I heard whispers. Thousands of different voices. Children, adults, crying, pleading, silent. What are these? My debts? I wanted to run, but the corridor was endless. Every step was not mine, as if something else was controlling me. The walls were getting narrower and narrower. Time dripped from the ceiling, not water. With each drop, I felt myself getting older. "You came here to write," he said. "But it is impossible to write here. It changes the one who reads here." Suddenly, I came across a mirror. I looked at myself. There was an old face in front of me. The deep emptiness in my eyes startled me. I didn't have a camera in my hand. Instead, I was holding a black notebook. My name was written on the notebook. What does this mean? A memory from the future, as if someone answered you. He approached. He now looked more like a silhouette than a person. Dark shadows crept through. His voice had suddenly taken on many different tones. "I have never been alone," he said. "Never." Suddenly the walls parted, and what was visible behind them shook me. Names everywhere. Some familiar, some unknown, some already erased. Beneath each name was a clock, and beneath each clock stood a silence. He said, "They were not with me, I was weighed down by them." And suddenly all the clocks stopped at once. The silence of the earth and sky was so strong that it was difficult to even breathe. "If you want to get out of here," he said, "you must make a choice. Forget or carry." "Carry?" "The truth," he said. "But know that the truth is a heavy burden. The one who carries it can bend, even crack and break." My knees shook. My whole body felt the pressure. I realized that if I wrote this story, everyone who read it would start carrying a piece of it on their back. But if I didn't write it, this place would continue to exist. "I'll write it," I said, and I started writing. He smiled, but this time there was no trace of joy in his smile. There was only a deep sense of relief. He said, "So, you'll never be able to get out of here completely." When I opened my eyes, I was already on the boat, and the island had disappeared. The radar was in perfect silence, as if nothing had happened. But I had a small black notebook in my pocket. This sentence was already written in it. "Truth never dies. It just needs someone to read it." Since that day, I can't stand the sound of the clocks. They work very loudly, sometimes even at night when the computer screen goes dark. I hear a whisper behind me. "Keep writing." Because islands don't sink. They are waiting for their readers.